Hi everyone, welcome to Into the Legit Darkness. I have Tori here tonight, and we're wherever she is, actually. There she is, and we are actually Tori. Why don't you tell everybody what we're gonna do tonight? Because actually, Tori is the one that found the videos.
We're gonna cover Tupac Shakur because they have been doing a lot of interesting new stuff in regards to the Tupac case. Yeah.
Mind you, she gave me like a whole week to do this, and I did not do anything until like today, so forgive me.
Yeah.
I was like 12 when all this went down. I was too busy watching.
I was 16.
Hanson.
Yeah, so they started, they reopened the death investigation into Tupac Shakur, and I thought that it was really interesting because I mean he was an iconic rapper in the early 90s, and he was shot to death in September of 1996 in a drive-by in Las Vegas. So yeah, so there's news footage that we did find for people that may be unfamiliar with Tupac. But yeah, I don't know what else to say other than watch the video.
It's like a long video too. Like she picked like the longest video ever.
Complications from several bullet wounds sustained Saturday night, September 7th. He was 25 years old. Shakur was shot 4 times after leaving the Mike Tyson boxing match in Las Vegas in a car driven by Marion Suge Knight, the head of his label, Death Row Records. The shots were fired from a Cadillac that drove up alongside Knight's BMW, but police still have no leads on a suspect or motive. Tupac had been on a respirator in the hospital and had 1 lung removed. Here's a look back on a turbulent life and career cut short. Tupac Shakur's public life began when he joined the seminal Bay Area rap ensemble Digital Underground, first as a tour dancer, then as a rapper.
Tupac, go ahead and rock. Now I clown around when I hang around with the underground.
Tupac demonstrated his range as a performer when his first solo record, Tupacalypse Now, was on the charts at the same time as his critically acclaimed feature film debut in the violent coming-of-age drama Juice.
If you want respect, you gotta earn it. You damn right. You gotta be ready to go down, stand up, and die for that like Blizzard did, if you want some juice.
While he maintained a thug image, Tupac was a man of contradictions, recording sentimental raps in support of black women, including Brenda's Got a Baby and Keep Your Head Up.
I know you fed up, ladies, so keep your head up. Ooh, child, things are gonna get easy. Because I was raised by a woman half my life and then thrown to the streets, it's like I got the woman side, then I got real rough, manly values like forced on me.
As Tupac's film credits grew with John Singleton's Poetic Justice, he faced the possibility of doing time for assaulting director Alan Hughes, who had dropped him from the cast of Menace to Society.
If I have to go to jail, I don't even want to be living. I want to just cease to exist for however long they have me there. And then when I come out, I'll be reborn. You know what I'm saying? I'll be taking less problems, and my mind will be sharper, and the venom will be more potent. You know what I'm saying? So they shouldn't send me there. They should really try to, you know, it's like you don't throw more gasoline on the fire to put it out.
What followed was a cross-country tour of courtrooms and jailhouses, 10 days in a Michigan prison for assaulting a fellow rapper with a baseball bat, an arrest for allegedly shooting 2 off-duty Atlanta police officers, in which charges were eventually dropped, and sexual abuse, sodomy, and weapons charges in New York City. The day before he was convicted of sex abuse in New York, Tupac was shot 5 times in the lobby of a Times Square recording studio. The crime was officially classified as a robbery, and the police dropped their investigation when Tupac failed to cooperate.
That situation with me is like what comes around goes around. Karma, I believe in karma. I believe in all of that. I'm not worried about it. You know, they miss. I'm not worried about it unless they come back.
While serving his sentence for sexual abuse, Tupac's 3rd solo release, Me Against the World, spent 4 weeks at #1.
It was a trip. Every time they used to say something bad to me, I go, that's all right. I got the #1 record in the country.
After 8 months, Tupac's case was appealed, and Death Row head Suge Knight promptly bailed Tupac out of jail and took the opportunity to sign him to Death Row Records.
If you come to Death Row, you will see your art brought to a bigger plateau, and you will be paid one of these days, Death Row.
Tupac turned his troubles into a career that was bigger than ever. His double album Death Row debut, All Eyes on Me, sold more than 5 million copies, scored a #1 single, and included tracks with new label mates Snoop Doggy Dogg and Dr. Dre.
Out on bail, fresh out of jail, California dreaming. Soon as I step on the scene, I'm hearing screaming.
With 3 years past since Snoop's last solo release and the departure of Death Row co-founder Dr. Dre to start his own label, Tupac became Death Row's artistic centerpiece, as well as its biggest mouthpiece. Death Row and Tupac shared a common enemy, the New York-based Bad Boy Entertainment. Tupac had earlier implicated Bad Boy producer Sean Puffy Combs and star artist and Notorious B.I.G. in his 1994 shooting.
Bad Boy Records. That's what Bad Boy Records. I love y'all.
But despite his taunts, Tupac realized danger could be around the corner. Back in New York City for this year's Video Music Awards, just 3 nights before he was shot in Las Vegas, Tupac surrounded himself with bodyguards and clutched a walkie-talkie throughout the evening as a security precaution.
We are businessmen. We are not animals. It's not like we're going to see them and rush them and jump on them. If they see us and they want drama, we're going to definitely bring it like only Death Row could bring it.
Once again, Tupac Shakur dead at the age of 25 of gunshot wounds sustained Saturday night, September 7th in Las Vegas. Police still have no leads on suspect or motive. Shakur recently finished shooting the movie Gridlock, in which he plays a heroin addict. It's due out early next year. That's the news for now. We'll have more news around the clock here on MTV.
MTV.
Hey, that was the stuff back in the day, man. That's where you kept up to date.
Yeah, no. Maybe.
That was the thing. So there's been a lot of conspiracy theories surrounding Tupac. A lot of sightings of Tupac over the years. Depending on kind of like what you read and some of the lyrics of his song, it's like he predicted his own death, or some people looked at it as he was basically he was basically telling people that he was staging his own death through his lyrics of his music. Now,
she just took a long video, okay? Like, I'm just gonna throw that out there. Like, that video was like the longest video of my entire life.
It was long, but it gave you a really good very good synopsis of Tupac and kind of like his career for those that may not be familiar. Because, I mean, he was shot in 1996. That was a very long time ago.
We're not going to do the math at all. As like I said, I was younger, wasn't listening to Tupac. Honestly, like Tori brought me this case. I think it was like last week. When you said that there was like a new discovery as far as there was a warrant a very long time ago. Very long time ago. There was something that there was an arrest warrant just recently that happened that I showed. Well, actually, you told me and then I found it, but they were looking for certain things in this home. Am I correct?
Yes, they
because I think I sent that to you earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I sent it to you earlier.
I just remember it being big news in pop culture last week about how they executed a search warrant. But they were basically
did I say arrest warrant? I meant search warrant. I'm sorry.
Did I say search warrant?
No, I think I said arrest warrant, but there was no arrest warrant. I think I meant search warrant. I don't know. It doesn't. Okay, there's a search warrant. Okay, search warrant.
Oh, I thought I messed up.
No, I think that was me. It was me. I'll take responsibility.
But they had issued a search warrant on a prior gang member's home to look for evidence, because this particular person, I don't even know how you say his name. It's like Keefe something.
Right.
I don't know how you say it.
It was like the randomest thing that they were actually like looking for. There was like this whole list, and it was like old cell phones. Like I think like one of them was like a Nokia, like those. You know what I'm talking about?
Like the old.
Who's gonna like? How are you gonna even like find something on that? Like how do you get a charger for that?
Oh yeah. They got their ways.
I'm just saying, like, I couldn't even find a charger for that. Like, taking it to a cell phone store and like, I need a charger for this.
It'd be like developing film now.
Wait, what's that?
But yeah, so it was huge news. So they have reopened the death investigation of Tupac Shakur. So it was really interesting because there's so many theories and things that surround his death. You know, people think that he staged his death because he was, according to the interview that was by his daughter that I had seen on, I believe it's on a documentary film, I think, for this interview with his daughter about, she's saying that her dad is very much alive and he went into hiding because he was a pedophile. There we are. It's magic.
How random.
And people thought that was just machines, and you know, people have that power to just completely use that voice all over again. No. Sounded like he was right there, wasn't it? He is. And I'm sure now he won't be able to take this information getting out there, because when you fake your death, you really want to escape from the truth and all the secrets that you have. You escape from the fact that you may be a killer and a pedophile. You escape from the fact that when you sold your soul, you might have sold your child. He's not dead. A lot of people have been lying to you. You don't live in the world you think you do.
Okay, so
I mean,
you sent me that TikTok like today, and I've watched it like a couple times, and then I went ahead and I'm sitting here and I'm doing like a bunch of research, and then on top of it, I'm like going down this rabbit hole of like all this stuff. And okay, so I just want to get back to that because it's driving me insane because I have to say it because it's like right there. So if he is still alive, okay, we're just going to say for the sake of argument, they're claiming that he went and spent like $50,000 on a body. And he's like in Cuba or something on that order. Like, yeah. I find that very random. That's my word. That's my word of the day, random.
I guess kind of what blows me away about the whole thing with like what his daughter is saying is those are pretty heavy accusations to make about anyone. I mean,
okay, but if you're in that kind of trouble, right? Why wouldn't you fake your own death?
Right. Which there are there is a history of sexual misconduct that he was charged with, and I believe he was convicted for. He's had a slew of legal troubles prior to his death. I mean, he did serve 8 months, I believe, for sexual abuse. Now, if that was with a minor, I'm not sure. But I do. There was several charges that were.
I don't think, from what I'm understanding, and I didn't think it was a minor. I can't hear you. You're on mute, Tori.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was talking to the little. She's holding up signs.
Hi, Stella.
So, but yeah, I forgot where I was. Sorry, I was trying to hold together a sinking ship, and I failed.
Oh, minor,
like young, below 18, minor.
I didn't see that part of that. I just heard that he was in trouble for sexual misconduct. Because it was at a club. It started at a club, but I don't know when in 1996. I don't even know how old you were to actually be in a club when all that went down.
Well, I mean, back then, I mean, people were, I mean, should they do it now? Like fake IDs and the whole.
I don't think I'd be that clever to come up with a fake ID though.
I mean, I would.
I'm not.
You were running with the right people then.
No, I guess if I needed a fake ID, I could have just like asked you, but I didn't know you. But no, I wouldn't know how to get a fake ID back then. I mean, we've all done some crazy crap when we were younger, but I don't think getting into a bar was one of them. Yeah, I didn't have fake IDs. Okay, I didn't. I was always in trouble anyways, so I didn't need a fake ID.
I also think that your access to certain things also was dependent on the area in which you lived. Like I
know, but this was Vegas. I'm sure if I grew up in Vegas, I could probably get a fake ID. But I didn't grow up
probably. Shit, in Vegas, you probably wouldn't need one. You just walk in.
Like now I could probably walk in, but I don't think back then I could just randomly walk in. Well, you never know.
One of the things that I kind of like honed in on when I was like reading, when I was kind of reading up or whatever, is that in 1995, Notorious B.I.G., Sean Combs, and Jimmy Hinchman, they were accused by Tupac for staging a robbery and shooting. He was shot then. And then, like later, it was Notorious B.I.G. and Sean Combs, they released a diss track called Who Shot Ya? And then Tupac retorted with Hit 'Em Up, which was released in June of 1996, which was just months before he got shot and killed. So because of that very public feud, because Tupac is the one that accused them of that, prior to that, Notorious B.I.G. and Tupac were friends, which if you look at the lyrics of Hit 'Em Up, like he references both men in that song. That is like kind of where their friendship went sour. So Notorious B.I.G. ended up being a suspect in his drive-by shooting. And then that was in September of 96. But then Notorious B.I.G., he was shot and killed in a drive-by in March of 1997. Less than a year later. So I don't know. Like, do you think, in your opinion, do you think those two shootings are connected? Because, I mean, one would assume that if they're going to open up the death investigation into
one, they're going to do it to the other.
Right.
I mean,
I don't know if anybody was ever convicted in Notorious B.I.G.
I don't know.
It was not.
I really don't know that, but if
I think his is unsolved.
Of course, everything is always unsolved. That's why we do this show. I don't know. I don't know. I really didn't look into all of that.
Yeah, he was unsolved.
Yeah, so I'm probably. So, like I said, right now they're like reopening the case of. I was really shocked that like that whole warrant, like there was just so much on that warrant, like that search warrant. And I sent it to you, and now I can't remember what was on there besides the Nokia phone.
I can look.
No,
I can look. I got you.
I mean, because I know that there was a couple laptops too.
I know that they seized like laptops. They got
cell phones,
I think, jump drives.
Yep.
Let me see here.
I sent it to you randomly earlier.
Yeah, it's on here. I'm looking at it.
We've sent a lot of text messages to each other today about it, and I know that.
I don't know what my face looks like because I'm not looking at the actual screen, but it said that they were looking for computers to include, but not limited to, laptops, tablets, and desktops. Electronic storage devices included, but not limited to, thumb drives, CDs, external hard drives, audio recording storage devices, and other electronic storage media.
But there was also books that were on there.
To include, but not limited to, notes, writings, ledgers, and other handwritten or typed documents concerning television shows, documentaries, YouTube episodes, book manuscripts, and movies concerning the murder of Tupac Shakur. Photos, movies, CDs, writing, or other documentation showing Dwayne Keith Davis, aka Keefy D, his involvement with the Southside Compton Crips. Cellular telephones belonging to Dwayne Keith Davis, date of birth 6/14/1963. Copies of the book Compton Street Legend by Keefy D and Yusuf Jah, including manuscripts and notes, and articles of personal property which would tend to establish the identity of persons in control of said premises, which items of property would consist in part of and include, but not limited to, papers, documents, and effects which tend to show possession, dominion, and control over said premises, including but not limited to keys, canceled mail envelopes, rental agreements and receipts, utility and phone bills, prescription bottles, vehicle registration.
Seems like a lot, though, for a warrant. Like,
it's not.
But it,
because
like,
basically,
here's the thing. But like, okay, so how many people? And I'm just saying, how many people are going to keep all that?
Well,
I mean, I wouldn't. If I was going to commit a crime, I wouldn't be keeping all of that.
Well, okay,
not that I'm saying I'm going to commit any crime. I just want to throw that out there. I'm not going to commit any crime.
And also, in the same token, you're looking at 25 years later. Like, I feel like people probably got complacent.
Well, I mean, I don't know, Tori.
I feel like if someone were to do something like that and it's 25 years later, I feel like you're way less paranoid than you probably were a year after it happened.
Yeah, but if you factor this in, there's always somebody that's going to talk. All right. Like at the end of the day, like for an example, I could tell you something, right? Like I could commit some kind of murder, and I'm not going to. I just want to throw that out there. I'm not going to commit any murders. But if I did, and I went ahead and I told you, I mean, the first thing that's probably going to come out of your mind is, well, you didn't put it on anything, did you? You know what I mean? Okay, probably not. But 25 years after that, I mean, I'd probably still be paranoid. Honestly, I would still be paranoid.
But also, you say like if I were to say anything, but is that why Notorious B.I.G. got shot? I mean, if the fear of death is there or retaliation, I mean, I wouldn't say shit.
Okay, and I completely understand what you're saying, but maybe he knew something, so why not? You know what I mean? Why not just off everybody that knows something? But I mean,
but also look at the blackmail aspect of it too. Like maybe they heard it through the grapevine that Keefy D or whatever had this stuff. But he had this stuff because he could implicate somebody else, and he was using it for cash flow.
Well, that's another.
I mean, you just never know.
This whole thing.
Obviously, I'm not a criminal. Otherwise, I would understand.
Well, I'm not a criminal either. You're like making it like she's like, no, I'm not a criminal, but you may be a criminal. Okay.
No, like what I'm saying is like if there was a threat of death or violence, like I wouldn't say shit, but also I wouldn't put myself in a circumstance where that would be an issue. You know what I mean? But when you're talking about, there was a huge rivalry back then between East Coast and West Coast, and they were fighting all the time. And I think it was like Bad Boy Records and Death Row, or Bad Boy Entertainment maybe, and Death Row Records. And like all these people be fighting back and forth all the time.
People be fighting.
I mean, they were, diss tracks, and you had the people that hung out. What?
Nothing. Just don't even. Just so random.
I mean, like I'm going to take, for example, what Super Bowl was it where they had like the medley, but with like Snoop Dogg, Dr. Dre on the Super Bowl halftime show. And like, oh boy, Snoop Dogg was wearing like the blue colors and red territory or something. I remember that being a thing. It's like, you know, old boy's, he's got grass stains on his balls. Like, he's brave. Like, you know what I mean? It's like they do things like that to, I don't know. I don't know why they do things like that. I personally probably wouldn't have, but that's just me. And
I
I'm not.
probably wouldn't have been at the Super Bowl though myself.
Mhm. Yeah. Balls so big they have grass stains.
It's Tori. I would apologize for her, but that's just the way she talks.
Maybe I should censor myself a little more.
No, it's okay. It's fine. It is what it is. Anyways, I want to go back to this whole thing that he may still be alive. Like, I have no idea. But I did read someplace that body. Now it doesn't even click right now because you're talking about the Super Bowl and I'm trying to figure that one out. I'm like, I don't know.
Well, I was just saying, like, the Super Bowl reference was Snoop Dogg. I'm just saying that they actively did things to piss each other off. You know what I mean? It was like a long-standing feud, and they were actively doing things to piss each other off, have something to fight about. Now, whether or not that was all for show, I have no idea. I would hope not, because who needs that kind of stress? But, you know, it just all plays into the whole idea of, you know, was Tupac's shooting like random? Did Notorious B.I.G. and Sean Combs and all those people have anything to do with it? And if so, did Tupac's
okay, well, I don't really
people
think the shooting
retaliate?
was like random.
Well, I mean,
okay, it's not random. I don't think it was random.
Well, what I'm saying is, I mean, it could have been. I mean, in all actuality,
I don't really think so. I don't really think so.
I mean, logically, was it random? Probably not. But I mean, that's why they served the search warrant.
But
PPD was associated with those people. He said he was in the car. There was talk, and I don't know if he said it or somebody else said it, that he was in the car when Tupac was shot, and that's why the search warrant was executed on his property. So it's, I mean, was it random?
It was
probably
after a Tyson fight. I did read that, but I'm telling you, I don't think it was random.
No, I don't think that it was random either, but as of right now, it's unsolved. So, I mean, we don't really know.
Not yet. But then, okay, so I was looking up some stuff and I was like, oh, how many kids did he have? Why is there a TikTok video? Because, you know, that's just what I do. And they're like, oh, I don't think he had any children. I'm like, oh my gosh, like, that's what I'm saying. Like, when we were talking about that TikTok video, what happens if she's just blowing smoke up everyone's tush?
I mean, she could be. But, you know, at the same time, it's like, why would you?
It's TikTok.
Like, at the same time, it's like, why would you say that about your father?
Okay, but how? I mean, well, that's another thing. I wouldn't say that about my dad, even if he, you know, if that was the case, which my dad does not. But when you know what I'm saying. But I wouldn't go on TikTok and be like, well, at this casino, there you could do this, you could get this and this and this, and this is what was going on, and this was what was going on, and this is what was going on.
Well, that wasn't specifically made for TikTok. That was just an excerpt.
Right, but what I'm saying
that somebody posted on TikTok.
Right, but what I'm saying is I would have never made it. I mean, she had to have known that TikTok was made. I'm not a big TikTok person, anyways, but you sent me that earlier. But so I watched it over and over and over again, and I couldn't find the other video on it, so I guess it didn't really matter. But anywho, story goes on is like I wouldn't randomly tell people that. You know what I mean? Like, I know that there was like a documentary that you and I were talking about today, and I will be the first one to admit I started watching it. And I do know that I called you and I said I can't watch it because I just can't watch it. Let's just put it that way. That's all I'm going to say. And maybe for somebody else, but it was not for me.
But yeah, that was just an excerpt from a documentary that somebody had.
I'm sure it was. I'm sure it was. That, but like, why would you randomly say that? Like, don't say that. Like, you could have left some of it out.
Well, and you know, at the end of the day, does it have to do with like money? Because Tupac was, I mean, he was an icon kind of in the rap world. I mean, he was big in 1996, along with Notorious B.I.G. and Sean Combs, along with Dr. Dre and a lot of others. But his daughter, like with this documentary film, it's like we already know thousands of people are going to watch this film because everybody's invested into this story and like the conspiracy theory. And is he yeah that was referenced in his song Hit 'Em Up too. But like everybody's invested in this story, and we all know that thousands of people are going to watch this documentary. So was it for a monetary gain?
Maybe. I mean, maybe.
But I mean,
I don't know. But like, why? Okay, for an example, though. But why go ahead and say, all right, there was a pedophile ring like going on here, right? Like maybe you could have left that out. Like we don't technically know that he was even part of that from the beginning, right? Why not just leave that out? Like just because he got in trouble for sexual assault, I mean, that was at like a nightclub, I heard. Not that I heard, what I read. I shouldn't say heard because I wasn't there.
But also, it's like, at the other, on the other side of the coin, is she voicing this because she has knowledge of it? You know what I mean? You just never really know. It's a very long, twisted, yeah.
Oh my gosh, puppies.
Yeah. Like,
sorry,
I mean,
he
was considered very violent. Like I said, he had a slew of like legal charges, legal troubles. He, and then I've also seen interviews where people said like he'd give you the shirt off his back if that's what you needed. So there's very conflicting accounts of the kind of person that he was, and that leads into, did he fake his death because of
okay, so if he was
the
in
legal
like a
trouble
lot
that
of trouble,
he
he
was in?
could have. I mean, he could have. I mean, if I was in a lot of trouble, I mean, I would fake my death. I'm not saying that I'm going to, but I'm not going to be in trouble. But I mean, I don't have that kind of money to fake my death, so let's just be real here. But I mean, if I was in that kind of trouble, I mean, maybe I would fake my death.
It's like, would you rather die an icon or like end up like your whole name being tarnished when they take you to court and they prove that like you did all of these horrible things? And you know what I mean? I mean, it's all possible, I guess. There's been things where people said that they have seen him in Malaysia. There's been sightings of Tupac throughout the years. I mean, people have said that they've seen him, and then you see his daughter saying that he's alive and you don't live in the world that you think you do.
I know, but it's like the conversation that we had about celebrities today. Anyways, we were talking about Britney Spears. Okay, I know that was a little weird. And we were just talking about clones or something on that order. Like she supposedly, and I'm just using this as a reference. Supposedly she died in a car accident, right? Is that what we discussed earlier?
Yeah, there's a TikToker, and I can't remember his name, but he started releasing this series of TikToks, and he was talking about how like he was a radio show host back in the early 2000s, and he had gotten a phone call from a friend of his that was a firefighter, and this firefighter said that they were on the scene of an accident and Britney Spears and Justin Timberlake were killed in this accident. They announced it on their radio show as breaking news. They were the first ones to announce it. And then basically it goes into his story about how that is when they created this Britney Spears double, that took her place when really Britney died in early 2000.
Well, and like I said, there's I have a really good friend, and she's like a Britney Spears-aholic. And it was like, I don't know what we were doing that day, but she was like showing me her Instagram, and she's like, look at this. And I was like, whatever. So just using it for a reference. Because honestly, I have no idea. I didn't go through. I don't even have an Instagram, so I guess it doesn't really matter. But so she was technically dead. She's got like this whole other clone. So technically, if he's not dead, okay, and he's just like living his best life, I definitely understand what you're saying. But I definitely did see where they're like, oh, it was $50,000. And okay, so like, who is at the hospital then? Like, we're just gonna randomly take a body in there?
And anything's possible when you have enough money.
Don't give me ideas.
I mean, okay. I'm just saying. I mean,
but okay, let's factor that in. But like $50,000 now, okay? I'm not going to be able to get anywhere. I'm not going to be able to fake my own death now. Not today. I mean, it's going to cost me a couple million at this point.
Right. But I mean, back in the day. I mean, regardless, like back in the day, he was iconic. He was worth, I'm sure, millions. I mean, I'm not sure how much he was exactly worth, but I mean, he had no problem having money. And, you know, as much as I shouldn't say this, but crime pays. I mean, unfortunately, it does. Crime pays. I mean, and it pays well. And anything's possible when you have enough money. Anybody can be paid off.
I know, but eventually, I mean, he's going to have to, who's supporting his little butt now?
Well,
I mean eventually he's going to run out of money.
Well, not necessarily.
Well, not necessarily, but I mean, eventually, but then there was one, because there was one theory that he was like in jail someplace. I think it was in Cuba, right?
I think they were talking about like he fled to Cuba or something. But to go back to the comment that you said about him running out of money, well, keep in mind that his estate is going to get paid royalties every single time a song is played on the radio.
Okay, but I mean, I don't know how many times his song is played on the radio, to be completely honest with you. I really don't. All right, I'll be the first one to admit I listen to country music, like straight up. So I'm not, listening to whatever station.
Well, what I'm saying
is going on.
Is the state is going to continue getting money put in every documentary that is filmed,
okay.
Is that why? I mean, like I said, everybody knows that everybody's going to watch the documentary Dear Mama, or most people are. There are thousands of people.
Yeah, like I said, I started watching the documentary. I'll be the first one to admit. And like, I feel like, how like when you watch like a documentary, like I'll say I give myself the first 10 minutes. If I can't get into it in the first 10 minutes, I can guarantee I'm not even going to bother watching it. I could not get into that for the first 10 minutes. So I was like, you know what? It doesn't even matter. I mean, and I'm sure it may be a good documentary, but it was not a good documentary for me to watch, me personally to watch.
Well, but for a million other people, you know what I mean? Every time somebody turns that on, his estate gets royalties. Everybody that did an interview for that are going to get.
Never mind.
What I'm saying is there's no.
I understand what you're saying.
Cash.
But if you're sitting in jail, I mean, okay, we're just going to say that if you're sitting in jail, I mean, you're really not making anything if you're sitting in jail. Honestly.
I mean, but who says he's in jail?
I said if he was in jail. I didn't say he was in jail. I'm using it for an example. I can't say that he's in jail. He could probably be on a nice island living his best life. Okay? Like, I'm not disputing that, but I don't know.
Well, I mean, and let's just say that he's not alive anymore. Like, his whole estate is going to get all those royalties.
I can't hear you, Tori.
Sorry, I was talking to the kiddo again.
Okay.
But I mean, either way, there's money that's going to be gained from it. So, like, are these accusations by his daughter a way to keep the money flowing in, because we know people are going to watch these documentaries, and or are they true? Or, you know what I mean? There's the amount of royalties that estate gets every year is probably astronomical.
Well, I just know that like right now we're all going to have to wait and see what they find at the search warrant, because they haven't released any information on that yet. So it'll be kind of interesting to find out, if we find out at all, which would be nice if we did, but eventually it'll get leaked. So I know I'm going to wrap this up a little bit, and there's a reason why. Not wrap it up, but Tori has got a really cool event going on. I just got some books. I'm sorry. I know that's such subject.
I didn't know we were gonna. Yeah, I didn't know we were going to cover it.
Not like wrap up, but you know, like we got like some minutes. We need to talk about your event.
Yeah.
So sorry, guys. I wanted to get that out there before I forgot, and I looked at the time.
Yeah, I have an event coming up on August 4th at Malvern Manor in Malvern, Iowa. Tickets are $75. It goes from 7p to 2a. It's going to be...
You can bring your own equipment. I know that.
Yeah.
Your equipment will be provided for you.
Yeah, well, and you'll have the opportunity to purchase equipment if you want to. So we have Katie Stafford, Austin Mannard, and Rob from Ghost Gear coming to host this event, and they're equipment developers. They, I know that Austin and Katie both have been on multiple television shows. I think both of them have been on Destination Fear. I know that Austin is working with Nick Groff on Deathwalker. I don't watch TV, so I'm not very good at the whole.
She don't watch TV all of a sudden. She just doesn't watch it.
I don't. I don't watch TV. So I couldn't tell you every show that they've been on, but they have, and they're really cool dudes. And I thought it would be cool to have a tech night to learn the method behind the madness and what goes into the kind of equipment that we use every day at investigations. So all the proceeds are going to pay for a new boiler at McIntyre Villa. The last estimate we got, I think, was like 10 grand.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's expensive. So we're just doing a series of events. We got this one August 4th, and then April 19th of 2024, we're going to be doing a wine tasting.
Wait, you didn't tell me about that.
Well, we just started talking about it. Yeah, we have a winery coming in to McIntyre Villa in Atchison, Kansas. So with your ticket, you get a bottle of wine and you get a wine tasting, and then we're going to ghost hunt after. So lots of fun stuff.
Really? Like lots of fun stuff? Because I feel like this like whole thing in April was like sprung on me now.
Oh, well, that's because it was. Because we just now got confirmation from the winery that it's going to be there. So
I know, but you could have told me earlier.
Oh, well, I didn't think about it. Because that's in
like,
2024.
Sign me up for that. Like, just sign me up. Right? Like, I'm like, just sign me up for that one. I mean, I have nothing going on in that month of 2024. I only take like one vacation a year. So I'm actually probably going to head up to Malvern Manor on the 4th.
I love it. It'll be a lot of fun.
Right.
I'm super excited.
Are you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm excited to meet everyone. And I've been talking to Austin for, I don't know, a couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
He's building a piece of equipment for me out of an old Linguaphone that I had.
Mm-hmm.
You don't see Linguaphones anymore. Back in the day, they were used to learn a foreign language. So you don't, I don't know, it's real old school. But it's a cassette tape type thing, and so he's building.
I know what a cassette tape type thing is.
Yeah, it has like different tracks. There's like
no. I know what it is what I'm saying. Like you don't have to. Like she's like it's like a tape thing. Like a
yeah,
tape thing.
They're hard to explain.
I was like, I know what a tape is. Like I'm not that young. I mean.
It's kind of like what I'm saying is
I know
like
I
a
like
Linguaphone in general.
Really just a bad joke. Okay, sorry. Like, I guess my sense of humor, everybody is like on me today, joking. But anyways, so I know you have some books out right now.
I do.
Let's talk about those. Wait, 6? Wait, what?
I have 6 of them. Well, technically I have 7, but the other one was just something that I did for my local historical society, and it's not for sale publicly. It's not anything that I advertise, but I do have, oh gosh, I was just trying to think of the,
She's not gonna remember.
We are Malvern Manor. We are Malvern Manor News. We are Edinburgh Manor. We are Randolph County Infirmary. We are the Children of Asylum 49. And the one that I just released is We Are McIntyre Villa. And I'm working on We Are Rock Island YMCA, the adult version of Asylum 49, and a jail.
A jail.
So, a jail.
A jail. That's just, she can't tell you. It's just a jail. So I want to go back to the 4th event. So if they want to get tickets, where are we getting tickets at?
They are at, Eventbrite. You can search Malvern Manor.
But hang on. If anybody wants some free tickets, they can probably get a hold of me because I have some tickets. But I'm only taking one vacation, so I'm probably just going to be there with you doing whatever it is that I do. But anyways, can you buy tickets at the door?
You absolutely can. We'll take cash at the door. There's no upcharge for cash at the door. Some places charge like $10 extra if you show up at the door. It's just $75 all the way around.
Okay, so if somebody wants to show up at the door, do they have to actually like get a hold of you and say, "Hey, I'm going to show up at the door"?
They don't have to, but we have a cutoff of 45 people. Do I think 45 people are going to show up? Probably not. But in the event that it does, if you're number 46 and I didn't reserve a ticket for you because you didn't let me know you were coming, then we have to turn you away because like 45 is max capacity. So if you want to go and you want to pay at the door, because I realize not everybody has bank cards and things like that, you're just send me a message, let me know that you're coming, that you're going to pay at the door, and I can reserve a ticket to ensure that you get entry.
That's random. That's my new word.
What?
No, she's like, you can't be 46. You can only be 45. You can't do anything besides that. So are your books going to be on sale? Well, you're there, or do you have to like order books like from you directly?
I have a few that I will have. I mainly have a lot of copies of We Are Malvern Manor. That's where we're going to be.
I actually do have a copy of that. Actually, it's like, I'm not going to bust it out right now, but I do actually have a copy of that.
I have one. I think
I have one. It's actually a really cool, I want to call it a guide. So if you have one, or if you want to purchase one, you're going to have these at Malvern Manor, correct?
Yes, I will have a few. I don't have a lot, but you can also pre-order from me. Let me see. Sorry, you're looking at my armpit. So this is We Are Malvern Manor.
Wait, I don't have that copy. I have a different copy.
That's because I changed the cover.
Okay, sorry.
No, you're fine.
I have the original cover.
You have the original cover. This is what it looks like. It's a spiral bound copy. I guess the Cliff Notes version to explain these books is basically I look into the death of locations. In these pages, it's every death that I could prove took place on property. In Malvern Manor, I think it's just shy of 200 deaths that I could prove on property. Now, I do have a list of like 60 more names that I'm 90% certain they died there, but it doesn't state that anywhere, so I can't put it in there. But all of these are deaths that took place at Malvern Manor. They're in alphabetical order by first name. It appears on the lower right-hand corner of the page so that you can find it quickly and easily. There's indexes in the back. Yeah. That's Cliff Notes version.
Well, no, the notes, like, can you not take notes? I think mine has it. I don't know if that one still has it. Like, you can jot down like notes as like you're going through there. Is that what I'm understanding?
Yeah, there's notes. These were made to write in, mark up, circle, add stuff. Let's just say that you're there and you get communication from George Fritz. There's enough page to write notes of whatever you may get if you want to note it in there. Like I said, they're made to write on and take notes in. And typically on most pages, there's enough room to write something. There is a notes page in the back. There's indexes. So there's notes pages in the back of these books so that you could write. These were cool. These were in the scrapbooks found when they stopped working as a nursing home. So there's cool pictures and just lots of different points of interest in there. So yeah, that's
all right. So again, everybody, if you guys want to go to the event, you can get a hold of her. If you're going to pay at the door, let her know, because you don't want to be number 46.
Fire codes, man.
Because I don't want to be number 46. I mean, she's going to let me in anyways.
Knowing my luck, I would be 46, and then I'd be the one that burnt to death. That's how it goes.
I can't. So all your books have like the note things on the back of them, correct?
It depends on the size. Randolph County Infirmary does not. Randolph County Infirmary is the only one that does not come in spiral bound because it is so big. It is, let me see how many pages we be in this one. 588 pages this one is. So there is not a note section in this one, and it cannot come in spiral bound. This is the book that I learned that you need to split it up into volumes. This is all the deaths that I could prove at Randolph County Infirmary. Gosh, I'm brain farting.
Clearly.
Winchester, Indiana, I believe. Yes. I'm pretty sure it's Winchester, Indiana.
She wrote the book, but she doesn't know.
It's hard to keep track of all these. But this one, what's unique about this one is there's a lot of death certificates in here that you can read.
If you're into death certificates or just death in general,
yeah,
like we are.
So it has everything that I could find on that particular person. It's same layout. All the names are in the lower right-hand corner of the page. There's indexes in the back that put them in alphabetical order by last name, by year of death, and month of death.
So look, if you were looking for something, you probably need to stick it like those sticky notes for that book.
Probably.
Like different color ones so you can remember.
Yeah. There's a lot in here. Let me see. Edinburgh Manor, I don't know. This is Edinburgh. And it's got a lot of death certificates in here too. It's got pictures. It's got a note section in the back. Yeah. I have the smallest one that I did was McIntyre Villa. It's fairly small, but it also it's packed with information about basically the timeline of the McIntyres and what people typically want to know about McIntyre Villa. What's interesting is there's 9 deaths that took place on property at McIntyre Villa, which doesn't seem like a lot, but it is a lot when it's a private residence. So that's a lot for a home, what people called home. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Something different that I did was I had people submit pictures of their evidence. All of those are in here. I have like a little log back here that you can, every time that you go and you investigate, you can make notes about your experience there. But yeah, that's it.
All right. So if you want a book, You got to contact her too, because I have like I have like a Malvern Manor book, and it's way different. It's the same thing, just different.
It's got a different cover. I revamped a lot of the covers because I ended up adding more to We Are Malvern Manor.
Why didn't you tell me that now? Because like I have the old version now.
Well, what has happened is there was more deaths that were added to it that I found after I published the first one, and that's the only thing that's different other than the cover.
Oh, okay. So if you want a book, you have to get a hold of you. Where do you get a hold of you?
You can message me. Yeah, you can message me on Facebook. It's Tori Westhoff. All of my books, I believe, are available on Amazon or the Lulu bookstore, which if you order through those places, you get the paperback version of those books.
What if I want like a signed copy? I mean, I already got a signed copy. But
right, which you would order through me. You would get a hold of me, and the versions that you get from me are all spiral bound copies, and they come with free shipping, and they're signed.
All right, so if you guys want to go to her event, getting tired. Her event, get a hold of her if you want to pay at the door. Otherwise, there's like a whole different way of paying. Otherwise, you can get a hold of me. I'm probably most likely going to be there and then I'll be there for the wine thing next year. I mean, like, sign me up definitely for that one. Like, no questions asked. I'm there. So it was a great show, and I will see you guys next week.